Welcome to the Mavens of Marketing, a weekly podcast hosted by me, Rachel Durkan.
And me, Kerry, Barrett. We talk all things marketing, innovation, sales, and business growth strategies, and the standard tried and true marketing techniques.
Come for the conversation, stay for the savvy insights.
And the borderline inappropriate jokes. Welcome to the inaugural episode of our podcast, The Mavens of Marketing. I am Kerry, Barrett, the co-host and co-creator, along with the fabulous Rachel Durkan, the president of Paradigm Marketing and Design. And this podcast, along with being sort of unruly and having lots of fun, is going to teach you and talk to you and talk to experts about everything you need to know for marketing from A to Z and everything in between, right?
Yes. And so we have some really awesome guests. Some of them are small business experts and owners that Kerry and I have crossed paths with. I can't talk today. I have been in meetings for the last 5 hours speaking, and I am tired of hearing myself talk. I don't know about you, but
and I'm just hungover. You might have noticed from my text messages that came through yesterday.
All right. Well, I really think that we've got the audience enthralled at this point, because why would they not listen to the train wreck that is going to be us? But that said, we have some amazing, really intelligent people who are going to be speaking with us on these podcasts. We have some awesome social influencers. We have people who have been on television and who have grown multi-million-dollar organizations. So we are going to hear their stories, their marketing expertise, their ideas on how things work. And so far, we've recorded several with some really intelligent people who can speak better than we can, clearly, and really carry this podcast through towards
sort of what we're hoping for. Like, exactly. Can we just piggyback on you as you take us to the finish line?
Our strategy is to mooch off others who are smarter than us.
I know your back's going to get tired. I've put on some weight the past 12 months, but nevertheless, you can do it.
It'll be short 30-minute increments, and we'll pick only strong people.
So if you're like a weightlifter or something, by all means, hop on and let's talk to you about how you market your business and your body. So I do video, but Rachel is really the marketing mastermind behind this podcast. So Rachel, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. Let me go first, because your resume is much more impressive than mine. So now I sound cool still. So I own a company called Paradigm Marketing and Design. We are a web branding and marketing agency. We are over 10 years in business, and we have helped hundreds of clients make millions of dollars. We focus mostly on we do have a small division that focuses on nonprofit work. I myself and one of my many past lives come out of nonprofit, and that's a whole different animal to market for and help support in their development strategies. And we also, the core of our business focuses on clients that have complex sales, which means they're not selling widgets on a website. They have a sales team or a consultant who is going to close the deal. And these are seriously big deals that require conversation, intelligence, and relationships to be built. And so we support our clients in their marketing and sales funnels to support their strategies towards growth. With that, and I also have a team of 15 and growing. I have people who are very smarter than me in most cases, thank God, in their different areas of expertise. And hopefully we'll have a couple of them on the podcast to share their knowledge and insights with us. But Kerry, why don't you brag a little bit? I think I can see your Emmy in the background there.
Oh, right? Thank you. But you told me to put it there. I used to have it hidden, and she's like, "What the hell is wrong with you?"
I shamed
you. Yeah, you did shame me. I would just like to before I launch into my tooting my own horn. I do want to mention that Rachel has grown Paradigm massively over the course of the pandemic. This has been an opportunity for her. And while that word doesn't necessarily apply to everybody, unfortunately, who's pivoted and experienced the new normal, et cetera, whatever other word is going to pop up into the lexicon, has really grown the business over the last 12 months. So she's your gal when it comes to understanding marketing and digital marketing, and again, soup to nuts. But I think one of the cool things about this podcast, and then I'll toot my own horn, is that we really explore areas that people may not naturally consider to be part of marketing. Yes, we talk about email list building. Yes, we talk about social influence. Yes, we talk about, follow up when you're doing a networking event and best practices and all that other good stuff. But we also talk about like how does networking and marketing go hand in hand? How do marketing and sales go hand in hand? How does PR and marketing go hand in hand? It really runs the gamut, biz dev, the whole 9 yards. And so my experience, as Rachel pointed out, I have that Emmy because I have a background in news broadcasting. I was a TV news anchor, reporter, and producer for 20 years. I finished my career in New York City at WNBC. I launched my business, Kerry Barrett Consulting, a little less than 2 years ago now. And I pivoted. I started doing a lot of public speaking coaching. What it has changed to, though, is really my area of niche expertise, which is like presenting on camera and visual storytelling through video, whether that means banner videos for your website, brand interviews, digital ads, being a spokesperson or a brand ambassador for a brand. It really runs the gamut. Digital courses on creating, DIY marketing video. And I'm taking that expertise that I have with presentation and storytelling and then helping people use it so that they can make sure that their online presence is where it needs to be. As you and I know, Rachel, video has been growing by leaps and bounds, especially so in the last 12 months. And there's a lot of noise out there, but there is still some space to cut through. So that is my area of expertise. And as I like to say, Rachel, I do the interviewing, right? I don't do the interviewing.
She's a natural.
I ask the questions, but some of them, but I need Rachel to tell me the language. So she parrots the question into my ear and then I spit it out as if I know what I'm talking about. And I use all kinds of words like P&L when really, that I have no idea what that means.
Oh, we had a brief class on that. Now you understand it, right?
I do understand. You explained the discovery call, the whole 9 yards, the sales call, how to close.
And I also love about this podcast, some of the people we've been talking to is we're exploring all different angles, as Kerry said. Like one of them was about consumer psychology and how our minds are changing because of the pandemic and this concept of caveman brain and chemical reactions in your head and why consumers are reacting the way they do to things. So if you're a marketing professional, a business owner trying to grow your business in sales, this is going to give you insights to the latest trends and a unique way of looking at things. Kerry, tell us a little bit briefly on what you're seeing in the world of video right now. I mean, anybody who watches you on your LinkedIn Live or some of your other video content is always you always look flawless. And I'm going to tell you guys a secret. So I will literally be meeting with Kerry before we hit record. And I don't want to use the word hot mess, but like a little bit disheveled. Yeah, Kerry literally some quick lipsticks, a hair slick back, and she is ready to go. Like she never had a problem. I wish I could do a transformation like that.
I'm actually wearing a scrunchie now.
Yeah, you are wearing a scrunchie right now, but no one had you not pointed it out.
I know. And they're coming back in apparently. So
yeah, I don't even want, I can't handle the side part scrunchy conversation. That's for another day. But give us some ideas on like, how is video influencing the world right now with COVID? I know that, I had the stat with me, but now of course I lost it, is video content consumption is way, way up with the rise of COVID in the virtual environment. And it's having a huge impact on marketing strategies. So what are you seeing in the COVID, the world of COVIDia?
The world of COVIDia.
Impact of video.
Yes. So you're right. The number is way up and it depends a little bit on where you're looking, right? Are you talking YouTube? Are you talking other social media? But generally speaking, it is increased by about 600%. It's billions of hours and billions of people on YouTube. Everybody is on video. And consuming it and creating it. And if you have a business, you need to be where your potential clients are. And that means you need to have some form of video out there. Ideally, more is better as long as it's quality. And it differs depending on what you're looking to put out, right? If you're doing a product demo, that's going to go in a different platform or on a different platform than, let's say, a digital ad. Or if you are doing a brand awareness campaign, that is going to go on a different platform than if you are doing perhaps a thought leadership piece. So each platform has its own types of videos, and you have to dial into A, where your audience is, and B, what are you looking to put out? And that's how you sort of begin to start niching down. But when it comes to just overall video content, if you're not already on that train, it is ever closer to running you down. And so it's a place that you've got to be. And I'm glad that you asked that question, because now that we're just about wrapping up Q1, I'd love to know what you are hearing from your clients as they strategize for what comes next and what they've seen.
Yeah. So many of the clients that I'm talking to, starting in like November, December, I think part of it is the winter months if you're in the Northeast like we are, or the Midwest, but this concept of business burnout is the real deal. People are really struggling to have any sort of sense of control. You can't control when the vaccine is going to be rolled out. You can't control the new variants. You can't control if you can go to the zoo or not. You can't control anything. And divorces, it's funny. It's not funny, I guess, but I'm a terrible person, so I'm going to say it's funny. But one of my clients is a divorce attorney. When COVID hit a year ago, business plummeted, and they were very angry with me as a marketer, because they're like, there's nobody's knocking on the door. And I kept saying, give it 6 months. I was looking at the data in China and how the divorces were on the rise. And I was like, the consumer behavior is going to be that in 6 months, mergers and acquisitions for companies is going to be way up. Divorce is going to be way up. I even thought that home sales were going to be up because people were going to start losing their mind in the city and wanting greater land. And those things came to fruition. And I don't want to say that I'm a psychic or anything, but I am. No.
And plastic surgery too, by the way, because we're all entirely sick of looking at ourselves.
That's because we look at ourselves I've never been this vain in my life.
Well, no, but like sometimes I'll just get up and I'll be like, oh, what would
I gotta fix this.
Or I'll just sort of like casually rest my hands under my neck.
Make it more just to hide that, but
a little tighter.
You look great, Kerry. But the point is that the consumer behavior has shifted. And so now we're in this environment where we're seeing people trying to control what it is they can control, but there's so many things we can't control. And so how does that influence business? And this concept of analysis paralysis, or being terrified to like create your next plan, update your budget, make it, hire somebody because we don't know what's going to happen, is a major issue. So when we've been working with our clients, we've been working a ton on micro planning activities. And so this concept of micro planning is back in the day, pre-COVID, I used to write marketing plans, like outlines, like loose plans for 12 months. And then like 6 months, I would have like details. And I had a rule with my team. I was like, we are a proactive company. I hate being reactive in marketing. I hate pulling something together and rushing in a couple of weeks. And so we always, we would plan a campaign to execute 4 to 6 weeks out. We'd start planning it 2 weeks before that. And we had plenty of time to have our ducks in a row. That went out the window last March. And it's continued to be out the window. And nothing's changing now. So as we're doing this concept of micro planning, we are creating activities that we can execute in 4 to 8 weeks, somewhere in that range. So we do have a loose outline for the year, but we have this general concept of what is the hook going to be in that short period of time. And what I mean by that is this: when you're going to market, there's 3 things you want to think about. You want to think about your target audience, you want to think about your message, and you want to think about your go-to-market strategy. The third one, go-to-market strategy, is what everyone immediately thinks of marketing as: email lists and PR strategies and SEO. It's how you communicate your message or bring in leads. It's the tactical actions that it takes to do marketing. And everybody thinks that's marketing. That is the least important part of marketing. The most important is the target audience and the messaging. And so one of the reasons we grew so much after we plummeted in March, we grew very quickly, is because we did a massive change to our target audience. And we shifted to industries that were anticipated to perform well during COVID. In addition to that, we changed our hook. And the hook is the message. And rightfully so, a lot of businesses should be using video to help them communicate the hook. That is the client pain. So when a client has pain or a prospect has pain, They have surface level pain at the top, and then financial pain, and then emotional pain. The trick is to know when to talk about the solution to what pain at what point in the buying process. Because on average, it takes 9 to 13 touches to engage your audience. And each touch should discuss your value proposition in a different way of identifying and speaking to that pain.
Yeah.
And so in this micro planning process, that pain, because of the consumer psyche, and if you're B2B, you still have consumer psyche because every decision is always made by a human, no matter what. Right. But that pain is changing so fast and so drastically, more so than it ever has before, that it's presenting greater opportunities to grab consumer attention, but it's also creating bigger challenges for marketers because a campaign that we planned, I think, Kerry, I was on the phone with you today and I told my team, I was like, let's revisit the messaging we wrote for Kerry's campaign 2 weeks ago to see if it's still relevant.
Exactly.
And I've been saying that constantly. Right before I launched a campaign, I literally reread the message to say, does this still even matter? And so this concept of micro planning is this. It's a long way of answering the question.
I love it. No, so
but you can anticipate the communication strategies for the next 12 months within reason. I mean, the world is always changing, but SEO will still be around, websites will still be around, video content will still be around, social media, depending on government changes, will still be around. Mm-hmm. You can, in the midterm, anticipate target audience. I am going to target these people for the next 3 to 6 months. The hook, the message is changing within 4 to 6 weeks. And so when you're doing planning during this time, what I'm working with our clients on and what I recommend is plan for what you can anticipate, the communication channels and possibly the audience in the midterm, and constantly change your strategy, reevaluate your strategy for the message and the hook. And that's the concept of micro planning. So that's what I'm seeing right now. That's what we're working with our audiences on. And I think if you can follow that rule, the rest will fall into place.
That is fantastic to know. So don't, that whole 6-week thing is like Dunsky, at least. Yeah. So let me ask you this. We're going to wrap up this episode. We wanted to introduce our audience to the podcast, to ourselves, let you know where you could find more information and when this will be dropping. So Rachel, why don't you put out your website and contact information for people who may be interested in hiring you guys for their marketing needs?
So our website is paradigm marketinganddesign.com, but the short version is paradigm-md.com. We have a ton of webinars and resources on there, including a webinar around micro planning and information I just discussed. And if you ever need support or want even complimentary strategy sessions, which we've been offering throughout the COVID era, we are happy to do that. Just fill out our contact form. And how about you, Kerry? Where can everybody find you?
Mine is Kerry, Kerry, barrettconsulting.com. I also have download tools, quizzes, and opportunities for people to assess their skill level and what they might need. And if you have questions about how I might be able to help you tell your visual story, I would love to have a conversation. I offer the same thing as Rachel, complimentary strategy session for everybody who contacts me. So please do. I would be delighted to talk. With that said, I will wrap it up, but let you know that there are 3 episodes after this one that have already dropped, and the Mavens of Marketing will be dropping weekly after this. And we hope you can join us for every single episode. And we'll see you next time. It's a teaser. Coming up next on the Mavens of Marketing. Isn't Google frustrating? The algorithms, they're constantly changing, or are they? And what do you need to know about Facebook? Everything you need to know about staying on top of how the latest platforms are serving up your content with Sheila Donovan on the next Mavens of Marketing.